It's time for another episode of my Knitting and Arty podcast. I want to first mention I cut bangs yesterday. Like 10 minutes before I was going to have lunch with my husband, I was like, I need to do something about my look. I'm just tired of I've been doing the straight bob thing for a couple of years now. And I was just like, I need something going on. I'm tired of looking at my forehead completely. So I cut some bangs and I'm still trying to train them because I've been having such a middle part, so they don't really want to do anything. But it looked pretty good considering I just did it myself. All right, we don't have to focus on that. So we'll start on the knitting. And I mean, I assume this is my creative world ebbs and flows, and I get obsessed and stuck into one thing for a little bit, and then I go to the next thing, and that's totally fine. So I haven't been knitting that much. It also, I feel like, to me, it kind of feels like a winter activity. Now, I had put lots of plans for knitted summer top. I bought linen yarn to do a summer top. So we'll see if I get into that when vacation hits, but we'll see. But I wanted to mention my Kitten Catch mittens. Last time I shared them with you, I showed you that I had knitted one of the mittens, the left one much larger than the right one. And I did put them in the dryer. I re-wetted especially the left one, but I did to both because I wanted them to both get a little bit smaller. So I did re-wet them and I put them in the dryer, and I opened up the dryer every 10 minutes to check that they weren't shrinking too much. And I did manage to get them to be the same size. The thumb is still quite much bigger on the left one, but it's not as big of a difference, and it's much easier to have on my hand. They did scrunch up a little bit, like here on the face, got smushed up and shrunk together a little bit, but overall they didn't get too felted, and I can use them and they're warm and nice. Now in April we've had really cold mornings, so I've been using them every morning for my morning walk. And because I have always cold hands, I always wear a second glove inside of my mitten. That also makes them easier to fit, because they are still a little too big for me. But I think now it's not doesn't feel as oven mitty, but they're still quite loose. But my hands are cold, and mittens like this, the air just blows through. So I like having another mitten. These are gloves that are merino. These ones I've had for a while, so I've fixed them quite a lot, so they're getting lots of holes, and there's a hole in the ring finger, and I've mended it several times, so it's time to maybe let these go. But still, it's nice to have just another inner mitten. It's also because sometimes you can't do anything with mittens, so it's nice to be able to take one off and not freeze my hand and fiddle with something, help one of my kids with a shoelace or something like that. All right, and then in my little drawstring project bag that I made, that I shared in one of the other episodes, I don't remember now, I'm still working on this top by Kutovakika. And let's see. It's the Sweet Breeze tank. So I've done the top, and I'm starting to do the edge because I want to finish the top edges, so then when I start doing the bottom, then I can finish it and it'll be finished. So I stopped at this point and started binding off the top, and it's starting to look like a proper top, and it looks really nice, and the yarn is beautiful. It's so slickety, so I do make mistakes quite often, but that's just gonna have to be the charm of being a new knitter. And when you look at it like this, now it's wrinkly, but you can't tell. And once I have it on, and there's one pretty big mistake here where I picked up when you just pick up some yarn from that layer underneath, and I didn't notice or I didn't care, or it got I have no idea actually. It feels like it got totally twisted there. But maybe that will be exactly where my necklace lands, and nobody will really notice. I like that. I know that some people are perfectionists, but I'm not a perfectionist. I like having those things and stories like I have with my mittens here. The first one I did, it looks pretty much perfect, but I did mess up 2 rows here. And I remember why, because I was sitting with my husband and we were talking about something and it got me distracted. So every time I'm going to look at that, I'm going to think about him probably. And I'll write down what all the yarns were, but this was the beautiful Fonty Moustache yarn in the color I think it's 420. Does it not say? Yeah, 420. It's a beautiful light blue color, and I think it's kind of ashy, and I think it looks really nice with my skin tone. Very luxurious. I bought this from the Finnish store Sunday Knitting Club. So I ordered from there for my birthday back in February. So there's my knitting that I've done so far. But yeah, when I saw that, I really want to get that going and finish the edges on the neckline and the armholes so that it will just be just like a super easy project to just sit and like do the rest of the body and then just do the ribbing at the end, and then it's done and I can wear it. So to now it feels like it's quite quick, but I mean there's quite a lot of rows and it's very small needles and very, very thin thread. Oh man, that's the only thing, like I've opened, like before it was so easy, it just had super straight and it just stood there, and I like used to curl my hair all the time because I wanted it to be more voluminous because I have very fine Nordic hair, but I just need to leave it be. Okay, moving on to Arty stuff because I'm so inspired. I've never been this inspired, I won't say in my life, but I feel like possibly yes. I feel like things have come into place. I was talking about this in my Patreon group about how I went to art school, but that was like, it wasn't super prestigious art school. I went to the University of South Florida. It was very self-led, so I almost feel like I was self-taught, but in an arty environment, because it wasn't like when I talked to other people who went to art school, it was like, oh, didn't you learn this? Like how to do this palette and these color mixings? Like, no, they just assumed that we could do art because we were there. And maybe sometimes they showed us some stuff, but like, no, I didn't learn anything like that. Or they just put us in front of a subject and like saw what we could do. And you had to have your own ideas, and it was very, yeah, like I said, self-led. You were supposed to like come there with what you want to be painting and you could get some advice. But I was very shy. I was insanely shy when I was little, and as a young adult as well. I'm still quite shy, but not at all in the same way. And I feel like now that I've hit 40, my shyness is starting to go away a lot. It's really nice. And it has for a while. It has for like since I moved to Sweden, and I don't know. I think I just needed to become a proper adult. But what I want to say is now that I'm 40, I've gone through like not half my life, but we're nearing possibly the middle of my life. I feel like I've finally like experienced things, met people, seen what's happening in the world, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I just have more to say and more thoughts. I didn't have any thoughts when I was 20. I was just thinking about like, like the vain things, like how I physically looked or how my art would be received by others, not by how I view it or how the process. And now I'm realizing like just the process is really important to me, and the materials and that. But I feel like I have been honing my skills again with painting, because I totally gave that up after art school. I just like put my paints away and I discovered illustration, and I was so happy to find that because it felt so safe, because the art world felt so stuffy and it felt so elitist, and I didn't feel like, because I wasn't like a natural talent or I hadn't found my thing, that I didn't know what to do. But when I found like, oh, I can do illustration jobs and they tell me what to draw, that was perfect. So I did that for many years. But then, yeah, now fast forward 20 years plus, and yeah, I feel like I want to paint again. I feel like I don't have to be Picasso. I can create paintings that I enjoy. If they sell later, if I decide to put them in my web shop and have prints or sell the originals, like they'll go to somebody who enjoys them. I don't need to have my work in a gallery and all that, like that we were pushed to do in art school. Like that was what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to find galleries and ugh. All right. I don't know what to talk about next, but I guess I should just start talking about this sketchbook. So this is like physically the sketchbook is I think you say Leuchtturm 1917. And it's really dirty. It's a nice lilac size. This size is perfect for me. This is the B5, so it's in between an A5 and an A4, because A4 is a little bit too big for like my idea sketchbook, and A5 I find too small. Previously I always have had these. I love these notebooks, the Leuchtturm. This is the A5, and you can see, so it's just like a smidge taller and a little bit wider. And then where do we have an A4? Like here's the art creation one by Royal Talents. This is an A4, so it's quite big. So this one's much smaller. I just love the size. You throw those down here. I love the size. I love the color. I love the pages. They are cream, and you get tons of them. So this kind of paper, this is 90 grams per square meter, and you get 200. In this one, it's 219. The smaller one, you get 250. But it's the perfect, beautiful, soft page for dry media. So mainly this is my ideas. This is where I write lots of things. Take notes, I guess. I don't know. Here, the first page. So yeah, you can use some color in it. You can kind of see to the next page if you really look. It doesn't bother me, but if you're like, yeah, but it doesn't seep to the other side as long as you use just like colored pencils and pencils. And I've just been taking notes and putting down my ideas like crazy. Like, yeah, notes, color mixing. I've been learning a little bit more because that was something we didn't do extensively in school. I've just done it basically, and then from doing. And then, of course, like sketches. I've been sketching Marie Fred, and then I have like this huge project that I want to do, and I've been very, again, I don't know, is this like a midlife crisis that I'm having? I want to do like a retrospective of my life. A little airplane just flew across. I just saw it, whee, like one of those tiny little airplanes. Anyways, thinking about the different places that I have lived, because I've lived in several beautiful places. So I grew up in Maine, so I'm drawing, like sketching out lots of places. These feel so like intimate, so I don't want to share everything, but here, like I've been testing out the colors of Maine. Like all the Maine coast is so beautiful and rocky, and the Atlantic, it's so cold, and the boats and the yeah, it just has a different feel to like here in Sweden. It's similar, but it's different. So I was looking at the colors and thinking about, yeah, doing beautiful landscapes of the coast. We were there a couple of years ago again, and I hadn't been there since pretty much we had moved when I was 17. So I lived there for 17 years. And then we moved to Florida. So I've been looking at Florida colors. Let's see, where's that? But I've been so inspired, I just like can't stop. So I'm filling my pages with scenes from Florida. We lived there for 7 years. I lived there, six years maybe. because I lived there 1 year before college, and then 4 years in college, and then 1 year after. So yeah, 6 years, I guess. Maybe it was 6.5, whatever. So here's the Florida colors, like all the bright, you know, jungly colors and the bright oranges from tropical fruits and things. And here I don't want to do the dorky beach, sandy beaches thing, because that's so done, but I love like all the tropical plants and like the jungly, like crazy trees and maybe some lizards and alligators and things. So that'll be fun. And then I moved to Sweden, and here I haven't done my colors yet, but I've been like, they have the cutest boats that go from in Stockholm, because Stockholm's all on water. And yeah, so I really want to do that. I've been here, you can see I've set this page up. I've drawn 4 of the same boat because I've been doing color studies, which I've just like, so fun. Let me see, where do I have? So here, I've been trying to put more color into my work, but there's so many options. So doing small color studies like this, I can figure out where I want to put the colors, but it almost doesn't help because I love them all. Here I was sitting outside drawing plein air, actually, at my kids' soccer practice last week. So I was looking at these pine trees behind the soccer field. But I mean, like, which one would you choose? They're all so good. I don't know. So I've been doing that a lot. I've just been sketching like crazy. I've already filled up this sketchbook. I'm on page 65. And that one of these usually takes me years. I can show you. This one my ideas sketchbook I had previously, I started in 2023, and then 2024 I had to add the next date, and then 2025, 2026 started getting ridiculous. Like, it was just taking forever because I just like didn't use it. But this one, I feel like I'm gonna fill it up by the end of the year because I just like, I can't stop. I have so many ideas for all these places. I think it's because I finally have a subject that I can think about. And it's my life, so it's easier to like reference it because I know what happened. Here are more color studies because these are really fun to do. And even though I own 100 million colored pencils, I ordered more just because the pull for the perfect color palette. Like with paint, I can mix my colors, but with colored pencils, you're limited to the ones you have. So that's how I justified that purchase. Here's more. These are so fun to look at too. This is beautiful. This was also when the first apartment that me and Johan bought together, that we bought together, and it was in this beautiful area, and they had this beautiful like birch. You can't like, can you even see what it is? A clump of birch trees. But yeah, I did a full page of all the different color variations and testing it out. I let my daughter do this one. It's obviously the most beautiful one. She turned the birch tree into a cherry tree, which is so her and so beautiful. Such a beautiful idea. That's why I love when I get my kids involved. Steal their ideas, essentially. But anyways, I just wanted to mention that. And then I've also, at the same time, I've been doing tons of still lifes because that's really feeding me. And I want to do these tablescapes, and I don't want them to just live in my sketchbook like this. I would say this is my favorite part, the ideas and the sketching. This feels really easy to me, like coming up with all the compositions and sketching it out in pencil. Maybe even doing those color studies is really fun because it can be like just crazy and messy. But then I've been moving to bigger paper, and that's scary because that's when it's like, oh, it has to be a masterpiece, and like that in the back of my head, like, oh, maybe I can start making art prints of that. And it's just so much pressure. But I'll show you a little bit of what I've been doing. So here's one of my still lifes that I've been doing, and I mean, I want it to be layered, and I want you to like see that there's a table and a chair, but I want it to be more like where does the wall start and where does the rug start. Like here it's too separated everything, and I want it to be like pattern on pattern. I just need to go for it. But I'm really happy with how some of these leaves are coming in with a different dimension. I'm getting looser. It's still quite tight. I'd love it to be looser because I'm so drawn to both the way of painting like that and how it looks. I like the aesthetics. So there's that. Okay, and then in this little folder I have hidden some. I have done this still life with cherries inspired by a Cézanne painting of the same name. Still life with cherries, I think it's called. Yep. And then this is my first main landscape that I've tested. Now the sun's coming out, but I mean, I love the movement. It's way better than how it was looking before. I'm not sure if it's finished. I kind of feel like something needs to happen here. It's boring in this area, but like the water is turning out quite beautiful. I like my dorky birds. I was thinking of putting them in like bigger, so it's not just like the usual like M. But yeah, I haven't painted on paper or like a proper painting, I want to call it. I've just been painting in sketchbooks for the past 6 years for the most part. So it's nice to push myself out of my comfort zone and start to do this because this is what I want to do. So you have to start. So there's that. This video would be 100 million years long, and I kind of just want to talk about like the why of what I do here. If you want to learn the how of how I do my art and what materials I'm using, you should go to my Patreon where I've been sharing tons. In the video that's coming out March 1st, I talk about the paints I'm using, and that's for free members. Otherwise, if you want to see like my painting process, then you have to become a member, of course. Just a little plug there because I always forget to mention stuff like that. But I don't have to be nasty. Like I am using flash paints. I love them, and I'm painting on stoned paper. I love it. But yeah, if you want to learn more about that, I go fully in depth. I have a video on my Patreon about all the new materials that I purchased. And yeah, in the free video, the monthly like hello that I do, that one is I go through like showing my paints and the mediums I'm using and the paper. So that's nice. I also, since we're going into that, I'm sharing every month on my Patreon for the free members a book or a couple books each month to share what I'm inspired by or to inspire you, to share what's on like the Swedish market, what I'm finding at the library, things like that. Just like to get you into my arty brain, I guess. And 2 of the books that I'm going to be sharing in May and June, I want to just quickly show you because they're so gorgeous and I can't stand it. But again, if you want like a full flip through of these books and other books that I do every month, just become a free member on my Patreon. Okay, you get it. My desk is nearly 2 meters wide. I think it's 180 centimeters, but I never have room. Okay, this honker. Do you see how big it is? Ooh, but before we look at that big one, I want to talk about Maud Lewis. I have fallen in love with this little lady so hard the past 2 months, I think. Her story is so inspiring, and her life was filled with pain and poverty and bad circumstances, but she saw it with such positivity, and her art is it looks so carefree and wonderful, and it's a good reminder to all of us that like it's hard to put into words, that art is healing and such a good, I guess, distraction from your life, or it can just be like where you can show your true self. And I also feel like, I have no excuses. If Maud could do this, and she had very difficult arthritis in her hands, and she had other birth defects that made her body, she seemed to have a lot of pain. I don't know. But anyways, if you have never heard of Maud Lewis, she is a painter. She was, because she died in 1970. She was a painter for Nova Scotia. And like I mentioned, she had very severe arthritis in her hands. I don't know if she had it other places in her body. And other birth defects. So she's a very small person. And here in this book, she painted her entire house. And she lived in this tiny shack with her husband. There's even a movie with Ethan Hawke and Sally Hawkins that I watched. It's called Maudie. It was so beautiful. It's one of those beautiful films, you know, like felt like it could have been an Oscar winner type of thing. I just, yeah, here's the little house. They lived in it. It was like 4 meters by 4 meters or something, just like a tiny, no running water, electricity. They had an outhouse, and she made these incredibly happy paintings with birds and just like views from her childhood. Let me find in this book some good ones that I love. I love Nova Scotia is very close to Maine. And the landscape, this is, it just makes me feel very nostalgic. That's why when I heard of her before, I wasn't really interested. But then when I heard that she was from Nova Scotia, I was like, ding, ding, ding. That is way more interesting because it's close to my childhood. I've been to Nova Scotia many times. We didn't see very much because my dad worked on a ferry that went from Portland, Maine up to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. And we took that. I guess we did it every year, but when we got to Nova Scotia, we never went sightseeing, unfortunately. But anyways, this feels like the coast of Maine to me. And she used materials that she had access to, especially in the beginning, like boat paints and house paints. But later on, when she got a little bit more famous or well-known in Nova Scotia and in other places, she got oil paints, but she always worked on pretty small boards. She also was so prolific because that's how she filled her days. I don't know if it was to not take her mind off of the pain, or if she just had this obsessive love for art making. So she made 1 to 2 paintings per year, per day. And they're very childlike. She didn't go to art school or anything. I just find them incredibly inspiring, but mainly I find her story inspiring. Let's see, here's a close-up of her hands painting. She did these wonderful cats. And she painted, her paints are in old sardine tins, and sometimes I just want to kick myself because I'm so privileged that I have, first off, I live in this, in comparison to her 4 by 4 meter house, I live in a mansion. I live in a small house, but I mean, in comparison. And then I have access to pretty much as many art supplies as I want. I definitely have way more than I need. And then I have lots of time. I have kids and other responsibilities, but I mean, I have so much time, and there's so much time that I'm sitting here I don't know what to paint or draw, or I'm not good enough. And when I could just be painting, So anyways, if you haven't heard of Maud Lewis, please check her out. There's several little mini documentaries on YouTube that you can watch in her house, and it was conserved. They took it away from its original place, and because it was so small, they could put it into the newly built Halifax Museum of Art in Nova Scotia. Halifax is the capital, right? So so they conserved, because it was starting once she died, and then her husband died was murdered actually a few years after she passed. The house went into ruin because they had no electricity or heating. So when the wood burning stove stopped burning every day was like going into rot. So this whole book, it was very technical. It was a lot about like what exact materials they used to conserve everything and how they redid it. But now it's standing inside the museum, which is quite interesting. I wonder if I'd ever go to Nova Scotia again, but maybe, and it would be fun to see her little house. There she is. She's so cute. I just, yeah. I want to share like some of she painted everything, like bread boxes in her home. She painted, and this is how the condition they were when they were going to conserve them. So they like really did a good job. Anyways, and then they did a lot of comparisons to Grandma Moses, even though they didn't live in the same place or in the same time period, really. But so I wanted to learn more about Grandma Moses, so I bought this honker. So I don't need to go into Grandma Moses' life so much. You can read about her. I had heard of Grandma Moses because that's such a iconic name, but I didn't think anything of her. I wasn't interested in folk art before, but now I am. I love it. But what's so inspiring about Grandma Moses is that she had a busy life. She had like 10 kids, only 5 survived infancy, and she was working on a farm, so she had no time to be making paintings all day. So she didn't start painting until she was properly like full time, until she was 78 years old. And then she lived until she was 101 years old. So in those years, she managed to create like a bajillion paintings of the most incredible landscapes ever. Can I get here? Like just incredible landscapes that really capture America in the late 1800s to early 1900s. That was her period of when she liked to create paintings, like horse-drawn carriages and people working their farms, and the colors are delightful and the little characters doing things. And so I bought this. I bought both of these books actually on the Swedish used book online place called Bokborsen, and I was so surprised that I found them. But Swedes love books. This book is so heavy, like trying to flip through it. Oh my gosh. I want to show you the last painting she created before she passed. She just seems like a character, and this book was amazing. Okay, let's see. How am I going to find that? Epilogue. Here it is. Here's her last painting when she was 101 years old. It's called The Rainbow. And I think that that's such a beautiful, like did she know this was her last painting? Here it is. Isn't that lovely? Just like people, I don't know. What are they doing? I don't know. They're just doing things. Yard work or something. There's a subtle rainbow in the background. It's just so lovely. Yeah, that's just so inspiring to me again. Like, I feel like I haven't gotten started, and I've been trying to do, or I've been doing art my entire life since I was, could hold a pencil. But I still haven't pushed myself to be prolific and do lots of things in my mind. But I have plenty of time. Like, I can be like Grandma Moses, and I can get going when I'm 78, but I think I'm gonna get going now when I'm 42. So there's so many inspiring people in the world, and I am finding it more and more important to share my art and talk about art and be artist. What an amazing privilege it is to have this gift, I would say, or this willingness to share my viewpoints through my paintbrush. Something like that. I just feel incredibly lucky. And why am I putting so much pressure on myself when I can just have fun and go for it? And I'm sure that that joy and the fun is going to show in my paintings later. And yeah, people are drawn to other people's joy. And that's the kind of artwork I want to create. I don't want to create thought-provoking pieces that are going to be hanging in galleries where people go and, like, you know, or write about it in some kind of art journal and really try to like plumb the depths of what I was meaning when I was using that type of blue rather than another blue, or when you know, like, ugh, that's not my thing. Anyways, I feel like I've shared enough. I want to push you all to think outside of where you're creating, and I just like books in general have been really inspiring me. Instead of just looking always on Pinterest or websites, it's nice to have something like this actually, like, I don't know how much this weighs. It must weigh like a couple kilos to sit with this in my lap in the sofa, and I have to like use both arms to hold it and flip through it and read about her. And there's even like snippets of her like diary where you can see her handwriting and the way that she spelt. She had a different way of spelling, you can say that, or like the way to I can't think of the word, express herself. Yeah, now I'm rambling. I just like talking. I love I just like talking to you all about stuff like this. I don't like talking small talk. Good grief. Alright, that's it. Where can you find me? Like I mentioned, Patreon is the best place to find me because that's where I post the most. And like I mentioned, there's a free membership where you can listen to me blab about books like this and other things. And I also have a monthly video where I share little clips from my life and what's going on that month for my different Patreon groups. And then if you want to become a member of one of my groups, that would be lovely. I have Collection Club where we create collections every month for our portfolios, for our surface design portfolios. In May, we're doing kids party design, so it's going to be really fun to do like birthday party stuff for kids, because what's more fun than that? And then in Fun Friday, we're doing cozy indoor scenes. We're going to be doing like paintings like I showed you with the still lives or other little scenes. And I'm going to share a lot about my painting process that I've been getting into again. I also have Skillshare. I'm one of the top teachers there, which I should mention more often, which is such a amazing thing. I really feel very proud of that. I can't believe that little old me became one of their top teachers on the platform. So I have 40 something classes there if you want to learn more. Like, those are more in depth of my sketchbook practice or creating patterns for your surface design portfolio or working in Procreate. So I have lots of those. So that's kind of I don't know, what's the difference between my Patreon's more casual and you just kind of like get a view at what I'm doing, and I take you along and I give you more smaller exercises to do, and you kind of see my process. In my Skillshare classes, they're more in depth. I really show you step by step how to do things, but sometimes I do step by step in Patreon. I don't know. I have I can do more themes, and the setup's more casual rather than a class that I have to make more slick. And then you can find me on Instagram. I've been trying to post more there because, again, it's important to share our work. Previously I found I couldn't understand the point when every time I open up the app, I just see so much horrible news from around the world, and I thought like maybe one day the world will get better and I'll feel more less vain to post my artwork, but I still am grappling with that. But from what I hear, many people they want to see art. Art is fun to watch, and art supplies and things like that. So we'll continue with that. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next month for another chatty video about Arty and maybe some more knitty things. I hope I can finish my little top there and start working on a summer top because that will be fun. Bye!